When a man regrets losing you, his silence is not just an absence of words. It is a loud confession of everything he doesn't know how to say. He may not pick up the phone, he may not send a message, and he may not make a grand declaration of regret, but his silence carries weight. It is a reflection of his internal battle, a struggle between pride and realization. At first, he might convince himself that he made the right choice, that life will go on as it always has, that he doesn't need to reach out. But silence, when it comes from a place of regret, is not peaceful. It is a storm raging within. In the beginning, his ego tells him to stay quiet. It tells him that reaching out would make him weak, that admitting he misses you would be a loss of power. So he remains silent, hoping that time will dull the emptiness he feels. He distracts himself with work, with friends, with hobbies, even with other people. But no matter what he does, the silence remains. He scrolls through his phone, hesitating to text, overthinking every word he might say. He types out a message, then deletes it. He wonders if you're thinking about him, if you miss him the way he misses you. But his ego keeps him from saying anything. But silence does not bring relief. It brings reflection. And as time passes, the realization sets in. He starts to notice the spaces in his life that you once filled. The good morning texts are gone. The random check-ins throughout the day are missing. The deep conversations he once took for granted no longer happen. He may have thought he wanted space, but now that space feels like a void he cannot escape. At first, he might try to convince himself that life is better without you. He might surround himself with distractions, nights out with friends, new people, new experiences, but none of it truly replaces what he lost. He might post pictures on social media showing that he's doing great, but the truth is, none of it feels real. The silence follows him everywhere. It lingers in the quiet moments when he's alone at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering why he feels so empty. It sneaks up on him in the places you used to go together, in the songs that remind him of you, in the little habits he picked up from being with you. He realizes that silence is not freedom. It is a mirror reflecting everything he has lost. Then comes the stage of uncertainty. His mind starts playing tricks on him. He replays old conversations, wondering if he could have handled things differently. He starts remembering the little things. The way you laughed at his jokes, the way you supported him when he was struggling, the way you understood him when no one else did. And suddenly, the silence is unbearable. He finds himself wanting to reach out, to break the silence, to hear your voice just one more time. But the battle within him continues. Should he text? Should he call? What if you've moved on? What if you don't care anymore? The fear of rejection, of confirming that you no longer need him, keeps him frozen. His silence is no longer a choice. It becomes a prison. Every day he wakes up with the thought of you lingering in his mind. He wonders if you still think about him, if you miss him, if you're waiting for him to make a move, but he doesn't know what to say. He doesn't know how to fix what he broke. So he stays silent, hoping that time will somehow bring him an answer. But time does not erase regret. It only deepens it. The longer he stays silent, the more he realizes that you are no longer waiting. He begins to notice the shift in energy. Maybe you stop checking up on him. Maybe you stop liking his posts. Maybe you stop appearing in the places he expected to see you. And that's when the regret truly sets in. Because now the silence is no longer just his choice, it is yours. And for the first time, he understands what it means to lose something valuable. At first, he convinces himself that reaching out is unnecessary. He tells himself that he doesn't need to text, that there's no point in checking in, that you'll be fine without him. He tries to act as if nothing has changed, as if life continues just as it always has. But deep down, the silence starts to weigh on him. He notices the absence of your presence, the void where your conversations used to be. He picks up his phone, scrolling mindlessly, knowing exactly who he wants to message, but resisting the urge. He types something, then deletes it. He thinks about calling, but stops himself. He doesn't want to seem weak, doesn't want to seem desperate. But the thought lingers in the back of his mind. Days pass, then weeks, and the absence of communication becomes unbearable. At first, he tells himself that you'll reach out first, that you'll break the silence. But as time stretches on, that hope starts to fade. He begins to realize that you are not chasing him, that you are not waiting by your phone, that you have not caved in to the desire to reach out. And that's when the doubt creeps in. He wonders if you even care anymore. He wonders if you miss him the way he misses you. And then almost instinctively, he finds himself reaching for his phone. The first message he sends is casual, almost meaningless. It's not a grand apology, not a declaration of regret, just something small, something that feels safe. Hey, hope you're doing well, or maybe just saw something that reminded me of you. It's never straightforward because he doesn't want to reveal too much, doesn't want to make it obvious that he's thinking about you more than he should be. If you respond, he feels a sense of relief. If you ignore it, panic sets in. He starts to wonder if he's too late, if the damage has already been done, if you've already moved on. When regret begins to settle in, the need for reassurance grows stronger. He might not know exactly what he wants, but he knows he doesn't want to be forgotten. So he finds little ways to keep himself in your orbit. He likes an old photo of yours on social media. He watches your stories, hoping you will notice. He might even comment on something, leaving a remark that seems casual, but is in reality a quiet attempt to reinsert himself into your life. And then there are the moments of hesitation. He wants to ask how you've been, but he doesn't know if he has the right to. He wants to pick up the phone and call, but what if you don't answer? So instead, he creates scenarios in his head, wondering if you'll ever be the one to break the silence. But as time passes, he realizes something. He can't shake the feeling that he let go of something valuable. He begins to reflect on the last conversation you had, the last moment he saw you, the way you looked at him before everything changed. He replays those moments in his mind, trying to figure out if there was a chance to fix things before they fell apart. Regret has a way of making the past feel more vivid than the present. It makes him focus on what he lost rather than what he has. So now every notification makes him hope it's you. Every moment of silence feels heavier than the last. He wonders if you still think about him the way he thinks about you. He wonders if you're as conflicted as he is. And eventually, the urge to reach out becomes impossible to ignore. He starts to justify it in his mind. It's just one message. I just want to see how she's doing. But deep down, he knows the truth. He's not just reaching out for closure. He's reaching out because the regret is too much to bear. At first, he may not even notice it. He might believe he's moved on, that life without you is exactly how he planned. But something shifts the moment he sees you smiling without him, the moment he realizes that you are continuing on, unshaken, unbothered, and possibly even happier than before. At first, he tells himself that it doesn't matter, that your happiness is irrelevant to him. But then, without warning, jealousy begins to creep in. It starts subtly. Maybe he hears from a mutual friend that you've been going out more, meeting new people, focusing on yourself. He brushes it off, convincing himself that he doesn't care. But later, when he's alone, the thought lingers. Who are you spending your time with? What's making you so happy? Is there someone else? The thought that you might be moving on without him, that you might no longer miss him the way he misses you, starts to eat at him. He tells himself he shouldn't care, but jealousy doesn't listen to logic. It moves in little by little until he can't ignore it anymore. he starts paying closer attention. He checks your social media, even if he told himself he wouldn't. He notices when you post pictures, when you're out with friends, when you seem to be enjoying life without him. If there's another person in the picture, even if it's just a friend, his mind starts creating stories. He wonders if you found someone new, if someone else is giving you the attention he once did. And suddenly, the idea of losing you isn't just a passing thought, it's a reality he doesn't know how to handle. His reactions betray him. Maybe he leaves a comment on your post, something small, something that seems insignificant, but is really his way of reminding you that he's still there. Maybe he watches your stories but never says anything, hoping you'll notice his presence. If he hears about you going on a date, he brushes it off in public, but inside, the jealousy burns. He tries to act like it doesn't bother him, but the truth is it does. Because regret is one thing, but regret mixed with jealousy is unbearable. And then it gets worse. He starts comparing himself to the people around you. He wonders if the new people in your life are better than he was. Does this new person make you laugh the way he did? Do they understand you like he once did? His mind begins to spiral, making him question everything. He starts remembering all the moments you shared, all the little things he once overlooked. And now, knowing that someone else could be stepping into the space he left behind, the jealousy consumes him. He might try to suppress it, but it shows in his actions. Maybe he reaches out just to check in, but really, he's fishing for information. Maybe he starts posting more himself, trying to make it look like he's doing just as well as you. He wants to know if you still care, if you still think about him. Because deep down, jealousy isn't just about losing you. It's about losing the idea that he was irreplaceable. And then the real frustration sets in. He realizes that no matter how much he watches from a distance, no matter how much he hopes, he can't control what happens next. You are no longer waiting for him. You are no longer seeking his approval. And that realization alone makes the jealousy even worse. Because it's not just about you moving on. It's about him realizing he no longer has the power to affect you the way he once did. He tells himself that he made the right choice. He convinces himself that walking away was necessary, that letting go is the best decision for both of you. But something shifts when he sees you glowing without him, when he realizes that you are not just surviving, you are thriving. At first, he brushes it off, telling himself that it's just a phase, that eventually you'll feel the loss like he does. But as time passes and you continue to grow, to elevate, to become stronger without him, something unsettling begins to creep in. He starts paying attention in ways he never did before. He notices the way you've been focusing on yourself, the way you carry yourself with more confidence, the way you are no longer weighed down by the relationship that once defined so much of your life. He sees the way your energy has shifted, lighter, freer, untouchable, and suddenly he realizes something that shakes him to his core. You are better off without him. At first, he tries to dismiss it. He tells himself that people change, that time brings growth, that maybe this new version of you was inevitable. But deep down, he knows the truth. Your transformation didn't happen randomly. It happened because you were forced to rebuild yourself after he left. And that realization stings more than he is willing to admit. Because now, instead of seeing someone who is waiting for him, hoping for his return, he sees someone who has moved forward, someone who has flourished in ways he never expected. He wonders if you ever think about him. If, in the midst of your progress, you still have moments where you remember the good times, the laughter, the closeness you once shared. But the more he watches, the more he realizes that you are not looking back. You are not reminiscing about what was. You are focused on what is and what is yet to come. And that realization is something he never prepared for. He starts to question everything. If leaving was the right decision, why does seeing you like this feel so wrong? If he was truly at peace with his choice, why does watching you succeed without him leave him with a sinking feeling? He thought he would feel relief. He thought moving on would be easy, but now he realizes that he underestimated you. He thought you would be broken without him, that you would struggle in his absence. Instead, you have become stronger, wiser, more radiant than ever before. The regret deepens when he sees that you have no desire to prove anything to him. You are not trying to get his attention. You are not flaunting your success to make him jealous. You are simply living, simply becoming the best version of yourself. And that is what unsettles him the most. Because if you are able to thrive without him, it forces him to ask himself a question he does not want to answer. Was he holding you back? He starts looking at the past differently. The memories he once clung to as proof that he made the right decision now feel different. He remembers the way you supported him, the way you believed in him when he doubted himself. He remembers the way you stood by him even when he was struggling, even when he wasn't the best version of himself. And suddenly, it dawns on him. He was the one who underestimated you, not just now, but all along. He begins to wonder if he ever truly appreciated what he had. If he ever really saw you for the person you were, or if he only valued you once you were gone. And now with every step you take forward, with every accomplishment you achieve, he is left with a growing sense of loss. Because while you were forced to rebuild yourself without him, he is now forced to watch from a distance, unable to undo the past, unable to be a part of the future you are creating. At first, he convinces himself that it's just a phase, that his emotions are temporary, that in time the feeling will fade, but the more he suppresses it, the heavier it becomes. He doesn't realize what's happening at first. It starts subtly, small waves of restlessness, a nagging thought in the back of his mind, an unshakable awareness that something feels off. He distracts himself with work, with friends, with fleeting entertainment, but no matter what he does, there's an emptiness that lingers, a quiet discomfort that refuses to leave. He tells himself that he's fine, that this is normal, that people break up and move on all the time. But there's a difference between moving on and trying to convince yourself that you have. And deep down, he knows which one he's doing. He carries the weight of regret, even if he won't admit it to anyone else. It settles into his daily life, showing up in moments he least expects. It's there when he lies awake at night, staring at the ceiling, unable to escape the thoughts running through his mind. It's there when he catches a glimpse of someone who looks like you, just for a second, and his heart skips a beat before reality pulls him back. At first, he tells himself, it's just nostalgia, just memories surfacing, like they do for everyone. But nostalgia doesn't make your chest tighten the way his does. It doesn't make your stomach sink when you realize you can't go back, when you realize that the door you once left open is slowly closing. He thought he had all the time in the world. He thought if he ever wanted to reach out, you'd still be there, waiting, willing to listen. But then, one day, he realizes something that shakes him to his core. You're not waiting. And that's when the regret starts to deepen. He remembers all the times he could have chosen differently, all the times he could have fought harder, appreciated you more, listened instead of assumed. He starts replaying conversations, trying to pinpoint the moment where he could have done something different, where he could have changed the outcome. He thinks about the last time he saw you, the last words exchanged, the last time your name popped up on his phone, and he wonders, was that the moment he lost you for good? He catches himself thinking about you at the most random times. He could be mid-conversation with a friend, mid-lack at work, and suddenly your face flashes in his mind, your voice echoes in his thoughts. He remembers the way you laughed, the way you spoke about your dreams, the way you looked at him when you believed in him more than he believed in himself. He remembers the way you made him feel safe, understood, accepted. And that's when it hits him. No one has made him feel that way since. He tries to convince himself that he'll find someone else, that what you had wasn't unique, that love is replaceable. But deep down, he knows better. Because if it were that easy, why does he still feel the loss so intensely? Why does he still catch himself checking your social media, still wondering if you think about him too? He thought time would make it easier, but instead it's only making the reality clearer. He let go of something rare, something real, something he may never get back. It's the small things that remind him of what he lost. The way he automatically turns to share a thought, but stops himself because you're not there. The way he hears a song that once played in the background of a memory with you, and for a moment, he's back in that moment. Feeling everything all over again, he starts to notice that no matter how much he distracts himself, no matter how much he tries to move forward, there's always a part of him that lingers in the past, in the life he once had with you. And then the hardest part comes. The realization that you are truly gone. That you are not looking back, not holding on to the past the way he is. He wonders if you ever miss him, if you ever stop to think about what could have been. But at the same time, he knows that even if you do, you are not allowing those thoughts to hold you back. You are moving forward, creating a future without him in it. And that is what makes his regret unbearable. He never thought he would reach this point. At first, he believed he had control, that everything was unfolding the way it was supposed to, that the decision he made was the right one. He told himself he would be fine, that life would move forward, that eventually the past would fade into nothing more than a distant memory. But as time passed, as the silence between you grew louder, he started to realize something he never anticipated. He was the one left behind. It didn't happen all at once. The weight of his decision crept in slowly, settling in the quiet moments when no one else was around. At first, he pushed it away, convincing himself that everything was temporary, that he just needed more time. But time wasn't fixing anything. If anything, it was making things worse. The longer he went without you, the more he realized that he had taken something irreplaceable for granted. And now he had to live with the reality that you were no longer his to return to. He started seeing it in the way life moved forward without him. He noticed it when he saw your name pop up in conversations, not as someone connected to him, but as someone who had carved out a new life of their own. He felt it when he scrolled through social media and saw glimpses of your world, a world that no longer included him. And the hardest part, you weren't just surviving, you were thriving. That's when the weight of regret truly began to settle in. Because regret isn't just about missing someone. It's about realizing that the choices you made led you to a place you never intended to be. He didn't expect to feel this lost. He thought moving on would be easier, that with enough distractions, he could erase the ache in his chest. But distractions only worked for so long. Eventually, when everything was quiet, when there was no one left to impress, no one left to entertain, he was forced to sit with the truth. And the truth was, he let go of something real. He thought he could replace you. He thought that eventually he would meet someone who would fill the space you left behind. But what he didn't understand back then was that certain people are not replaceable. Certain connections don't come around twice. And now, as he looks back, as he pieces together all the ways he took you for granted, he realizes that what he lost wasn't just a relationship. It was a part of his own life that will never feel the same again. He begins to understand the depth of what he walked away from. He thinks about the moments that once seemed small but now feel monumental. The late night conversations, the way you understood him without him having to explain, the way you made him feel seen in a way no one else ever did. He remembers the way you supported him, the way you stayed even when he gave you every reason to leave. And now when he looks around, when he tries to find that same warmth elsewhere, all he finds is emptiness. The regret intensifies when he realizes that you are no longer accessible to him. Before, he always believed that no matter what happened, he could reach out, that you would always be there, that if he ever changed his mind, you would be waiting. But now he sees that he was wrong. The person who once gave him endless chances is no longer willing to give him one more. And that realization is crushing. He watches from a distance as you build a life that no longer includes him. He sees you smile, sees you grow, sees you become someone even stronger than before. And for the first time, he understands what it truly means to lose someone, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually. He didn't just lose you, he lost the version of himself that existed when he was with you. And no matter how much he wishes he could undo the past, no matter how much he wishes he could go back and do things differently, he knows that some things can never be rewritten. And so he is left with the hardest truth of all. You moved on, and he is still standing in the wreckage of what he destroyed. He thought he had time, thought that he could always find a way back, but now he sees that the door has closed. And as much as he wishes he could turn back the clock, as much as he wishes he could take back the words, the choices, the mistakes, he can't. The past is gone. The only thing left is the regret that he must now carry, knowing that the person he once had is no longer waiting for him to realize what he lost.